How many of you were born centuries ago? Raise your hands. Great. Well, many centuries ago in the year 1975, a big miracle happened. Guess what? Ask what?
What?
I was born. I had a grand entry into this world. My mother was alone in the labor room. No doctors, no nurses. That was so because at that time, the hospital staff, the duties of the hospital staff were being exchanged. So, at dot 10:05 p.m., there was 1, 2, 3, and a piece of flesh popped out. But there was something strange to be noticed. When I was out, I was gazing at the surroundings with my eyes open. My mother somehow got up. She picked me up, wiped my face, and I just turned around, looked at her, and she looked at me. And I looked back at her with an expression, "Where have you brought me?" Somehow she cleaned me with a cloth nearby her, and then she shouted, "Doctor, doctor!" And luckily a doctor was passing by. He heard her, and he soon ushered into the room. And soon there were 3 doctors and 5 nurses in the room. But when the doctors saw me, they got worried. Ask why?
Why?
Because when I was born, I did not cry. So the doctor picked me up with my 2 tiny legs and he slapped me at the bottom, and then I cried. Then there were strange incidences that were happening that day. The prayers were continuously taking place in the mosque. The lights in the city were not shut off. The schools declared a holiday the next day. Ask why?
Why?
Because the moment I was born, the king of Saudi Arabia died. So they say he was a very cruel king. But so the saying goes, when an Indian soul enters into this world, the cruel soul has to exit. But everything went off well, everything settled. Okay, my mother was shifted to the ward, and then she asked the doctor to inform my father about my grand entry into this world. So he called up my dad and he told, "Mr. Sahani, you have delivered a baby girl." He said, "Huh? I?" He said, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. Your wife has delivered a baby girl." He was so happy that the phone just flung from his hands. And he decided to see me the next morning. Now in Kuwait, you cannot see the patients before the visiting hours. So he thought, how should I see my daughter? He got an idea. He called my mother up from in the hospital ward and he told her, "You keep the window of the room open in which you are in." And then he did something.
What?
He became a Superman, wearing 3-piece suit, went right behind the hospital building, climbed the pipe of the building, reached the 2nd floor and hopped into the room. And he saw me. He was very happy. But when the doctors came on round, they were not very happy. They were astonished to see him, asking him, "How did you come in?" He said, "Through the pipe." Well, everything was okay. The rest of the 2 days in the hospital were a lot of fun. I suddenly realized I love traveling. Ask how? The thing is, I was all the time traveling in the arms of the doctors and nurses around the hospital. Because they wanted to show the patients that this is the child of an Indian lady. So when my father came to see me, he didn't see me in the cot next to my mother, so he told, "Meri dhi kithe hai?" My mother told, "Where can a 3-year-old baby go? She must be here somewhere." "Nahi, ethe te nahi dikh rahi." "Oh, don't worry. Hone bhukh lagegi te aa jayegi." And the next moment, the nurse brought me and put me in her arms as I was hungry. When I was discharged peacefully, went home, was being brought up in a very happy environment. But at the age of 3, there was another a turning point in my life.
Why?
I started schooling at the age of 3. Now, at the age of 3, getting up at 5, going to school in the cold mornings, or even if it is very hot, it was very tough for a 3-year-old child. But I used to get very angry because my brother used to be sleeping and he had afternoon shift. So in a fit of anger, I used to kick his bed and I used to go to school feeling very satisfied. So, you see, these are the little tickling bones in your life. Find such bones in your life and enjoy the bliss of God